What if I told you that ancient wisdom could help you navigate today's chaotic world, that archetypes thousands of years old could explain why you're struggling to find meaning, and that the answers to society's most pressing problems might lie not in new technologies, but in stories we've been telling for generations? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the philosophical world of Dr. Jordan Peterson, a clinical psychologist, professor, and author who's become one of the most influential and controversial thinkers of our time. Love him or hate him, Peterson has captivated millions with his unique blend of psychology, mythology, and practical life advice. But what exactly is his philosophy? What makes his ideas resonate with so many people? And why does he believe that ancient stories might save us from nihilism and chaos? If you've ever wondered what all the Peterson buzz is about, or if you're looking to understand his core ideas beyond the controversy, you're in the right place. By the end of this video, you'll understand the foundations of Peterson's philosophical framework, and maybe even gain some tools to find more meaning in your own life. But first, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss our weekly deep dives into the ideas shaping our world. Section 1. The meaning crisis. According to Peterson, we're facing what many philosophers call a meaning crisis. In a world where traditional religious frameworks have declined but nothing has fully replaced them, many people feel adrift. Peterson clip. People are suffering from a lack of meaning, not a lack of material goods. And meaning is to be found in the adoption of responsibility. This meaning crisis manifests in rising rates of depression, anxiety, and what Peterson calls existential angst, the unsettling feeling that life lacks purpose or direction. Nietzsche quote, "God is dead, and we have killed him." Peterson often references Friedrich Nietzsche's famous proclamation that God is dead, not as a celebration, but as a profound cultural problem. When societies abandon religious frameworks without replacing them, they risk falling into nihilism, the belief that nothing really matters. But where many modern thinkers have embraced relativism or pure scientific materialism, Peterson takes a different approach. He argues that ancient myths and religious stories contain profound psychological truths that we ignore at our peril. These stories, Peterson argues, have survived thousands of years, precisely because they contain wisdom about how to live. They're not just entertainment, they're survival guides encoded in narrative form. Section 2. Order vs. chaos. At the center of Peterson's philosophy is the eternal dance between order and chaos, a concept he explores extensively in his book, 12 Rules for Life. Order is where the people around you act according to well-understood social norms and remain predictable and cooperative. Chaos is where or when something unexpected happens. Order represents the known, the structured, the already mapped territory of human experience. It's necessary for stability, but can become tyrannical and stifling when taken to extremes. Chaos, on the other hand, is the unknown, the realm of possibility, creativity, and danger. It's terrifying, but also the source of all new possibilities. According to Peterson, the good life isn't found in pure order or pure chaos, but in the middle path, what he calls meaning. Meaning is found at the boundary between order and chaos, where we voluntarily confront the unknown while maintaining structure. This is why Peterson emphasizes the importance of facing challenges voluntarily. The way that you deal with a complex problem is to confront it voluntarily, and that transforms it from something that's a challenge and a burden into something that's an opportunity. By willingly confronting chaos, starting a new job, having a difficult conversation, learning a new skill, that we transform previously chaotic territory into ordered knowledge. This is how we grow and, according to Peterson, how we find meaning. Responsibility as the antidote to suffering. If there's one message Peterson is known for, it's his call to take on as much responsibility as you can bear. The purpose of life is finding the largest burden that you can bear and bearing it. This might sound harsh in our comfort-oriented culture, but Peterson argues that responsibility is actually the antidote to suffering. When we take responsibility for ourselves, our families, our communities, we discover meaning that makes the inevitable suffering of life worthwhile. In his controversial discussions about hierarchies, Peterson argues that they're not merely social constructions, but have biological roots dating back hundreds of millions of years. Even lobsters, he points out, organize themselves into dominance hierarchies. But unlike many other thinkers, Peterson doesn't advocate for climbing hierarchies simply for power or status. Instead, he emphasizes competence hierarchies, becoming genuinely useful in developing skills that allow you to reduce suffering in the world. You want to have a meaning in your life that's profound, enough so that when tragedy strikes, the meaning that you've established is more powerful than the tragedy. For Peterson, taking responsibility means 1. Setting your house in perfect order before criticizing the world. 2. Being honest with yourself and others. 3. Pursuing what is meaningful, not what is expedient. 4. Making yourself useful to others. This focus on responsibility represents what Peterson calls a tragic view of life, acknowledging that suffering is inevitable, but finding meaning that makes it worthwhile. Section 4. The importance of truth. Central to Peterson's philosophy is an almost religious reverence for truth. He argues that lies, especially those we tell ourselves, lead to psychological and social catastrophe. If you don't tell the truth about the little things, then you won't be able to tell the truth about the big things. And if you can't tell the truth about the big things, then your life will fall apart. Peterson often references the story of Pinocchio as a profound allegory about the relationship between truth and being. When we lie, we become less real, puppets manipulated by forces we don't understand. When we tell the truth, we become more fully human. This commitment to truth extends beyond simple factual accuracy. For Peterson, it means speaking precisely and avoiding ideological language. 2. Listening to understand rather than to respond. 3. Being willing to revise your beliefs when confronted with new evidence. 4. Facing uncomfortable realities rather than hiding from them. Drawing on Carl Jung's concept of the shadow, the dark, disowned parts of our psyche, Peterson argues that denying our capacity for evil only makes us more dangerous. True moral development comes from acknowledging our shadow and integrating it consciously. Section 5. Stories as maps of meaning. Perhaps the most unique aspect of Peterson's philosophy is his interpretation of mythology and religious narratives as psychological maps. In his first book, Maps of Meaning, Peterson argues that ancient stories aren't primitive science or mere superstition. They're sophisticated frameworks for understanding human experience. The world can be validly construed as a forum for action, as well as a place of things. We describe the world as a place of things using the formal methods of science. The world as a forum for action is described through narrative, through stories. For Peterson, stories like the Garden of Eden, the death and resurrection of Christ, or the hero's journey aren't just cultural artifacts. They're psychological roadmaps that tell us how to live. The hero's journey, for instance, represents the universal human experience of one living in a state of initial order, 2. Encountering chaos, to voluntarily confronting that chaos, 4. Gaining new knowledge and abilities, returning to transform society. This pattern, Peterson argues, is embedded in countless stories across cultures, precisely because it represents a psychological truth about human development. Section 6. Critiques and controversies. No exploration of Peterson's philosophy would be complete without acknowledging the controversies. Critics have accused Peterson of 1. Oversimplifying complex social issues, 2. Cherry-picking scientific evidence, 3. Being too focused on individual responsibility at the expense of systemic analysis, 4. Misrepresenting postmodernism and Marxism. Others critique his interpretations of mythology as too Jungian or his evolutionary psychology as reductive. Some philosophers argue that Peterson's work lacks rigorous philosophical grounding, while others praise him for making philosophy accessible and practical. Whatever your take on these controversies, Peterson's impact on contemporary philosophical discourse is undeniable. Jordan Peterson's philosophy ultimately centers on one core idea, that life is inherently meaningful, but that meaning must be discovered through responsible action in the face of suffering. In a culture that often promises happiness through comfort and consumption, Peterson offers a more demanding, but potentially more fulfilling Alternative, find the heaviest burden you can bear and bear it. Whether you agree with all his ideas or not, Peterson's call to take responsibility seriously, to speak the truth, and to find meaning in the stories that have shaped human consciousness for millennia offers a compelling alternative to both religious fundamentalism and secular nihilism. What do you think about Peterson's philosophy? Has it impacted your life? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this exploration valuable, please hit that like button and share this video with someone who might benefit from these ideas. For those who want to dive deeper, I've linked some of Peterson's key lectures and books in the description. And if there are other philosophers or thinkers you'd like me to cover in future videos, drop those suggestions in the comments too. Until next time, remember what Peterson might say. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. Tell the truth and take on responsibility. Your life and the world will be better for it.